Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 29th Annual National Management Association Leadership Speech Contest, hosted today by the Energy Northwest and Mid-Columbia Leadership Development Association of the National Management Association and the Columbia Basin Area Council. My name's Edward Schwier. I will be your Master of Ceremonies. I'm associated with both the Mid-Columbia Leadership Development Association, the Area Council, as well as Toastmasters over the years. Today is March the 26th, and we are filming this in front of a live audience at the Energy Northwest Auditorium on George Washington Way in Richland. Today we will have the distinct pleasure of listening to 6 young adults talk to us about leadership, their understanding, their application, their interpretation. They will both excite you and inspire you, and I hope give you great faith for the future of our country. Few rules about the contest. Hardest one, well no, second hardest one. If you have a cell phone, a pager, or other noise-making device other than a pacemaker, please turn it off or silence it. Rule number 2, no clapping after the speaker. Sounds strange, but it's to allow the judges to accurately judge and evaluate the speeches. You will have plenty of opportunity for clapping when we bring them back after the contest has concluded. Speakers will not be introduced by name, only by speaking order A through F and the title of their speech. No flash photography during the speeches. You'll have plenty of opportunity afterwards when we interview the young people and present awards to do the speeches. Are there any questions from the audience? Anything that you don't understand? Our judges today are a select group of National Management Association and Toastmasters members who are skilled in this art we're practicing today, public speaking. Toastmasters also helps us in providing criteria in the judging. With that, we're going to start the contest. Here is Contestant A with Discipline, the Cornerstone of Leadership. Discipline, the Cornerstone of Leadership, Contestant A.
What makes a good leader? Many people ask this question while searching for the answer as to how they can achieve this goal. We all have had leaders in our lives, both good and bad, and have learned from each of them. A good leader consists of a person in whom you can trust and is willing to give all of themselves, expecting nothing in return for the deed accomplished. We all need these people, from teachers, parents, coaches, religious leaders. The list continues. Your parents, for example, raised you and helped you make decisions for the best. In my life, I have had countless. Outside of the family, the one that has had the most influence is Boy Scouts. Boy Scouts is a worldwide organization that helps instill many critical qualities into young men. Both the Boy Scout oath and law lists the lifestyles that these men are to live: a life of community service and leadership. The Boy Scout oath lays the very foundation on which to begin the building of a quality leader. The cornerstone for this foundation is the principle of discipline. Without discipline, the other characteristics derived from the oath and law, such as my honor and duty to God and country, and trustworthy, kind, obedient, and reverent, would not be able to be carried out and allowed to flourish. So why do I say that discipline is the cornerstone of leadership? Because leadership starts with self-discipline. My home troop of 159 has many adult leaders who devote countless hours doing the best job that they are able, trying to instill the common ideals of a leader into each and every young man, in high hopes that one day they'll make it all the way through the scouting program. The very pinnacle of a scout's career is achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. This is the true test of your leadership skills that hopefully you have acquired while climbing the ladder of ranks. Last November and December, I had the privilege of creating a Vietnam Veterans Memorial dedicated to those men and women who are missing in action. Despite the simplicity of this project, I quickly realized that this was by far the greatest task of leadership I had ever undertaken, and began jumping haphazardly through the hoops to accomplish the task at hand. Discipline can be seen as a process of moving through hoops, but true leadership is owning the hoops that you jump through. Part of the way through the project, perhaps when I was 5 or 6, I had a flashback to when the Vietnam War Memorial was passing through the Tri-Cities. Being so young, I didn't have the maturity to understand all the significance of what was before me. I remember there being several veterans and this big, black, ominous wall with seemingly endless columns of names. It hit me that these names were actually real people, and that these people had friends and family. They were the very souls that were allowing me to live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. As soon as I made this connection, I felt a sudden deluge of sympathy and compassion. A counterpart to discipline in making a good leader is being able to make the full circle connection, starting with experiences, then taking those experiences and doing something great with them. Good leaders bring out the best in a person and develop the character needed to help their community, state, and country live, grow, and thrive. Community service is one of the key components in Scouting. By helping others and expecting nothing in return, Boy Scouts teaches young men at an early age the valuable lesson of servant leadership. A servant leader must have discipline, selflessness, and must be concise. Boy Scouts instills all of these qualities to becoming a servant leader. I am ever indebted to those people who have given so much of their time, expecting nothing in return except to see young men thrive on the values with which they have helped instill. I am learning discipline because it is the cornerstone of leadership.
We will have 2 minutes of silence while the judges mark their ballots. Here is Contestant B with Classical Education, Creating the Mind of a Good Leader. Classical Education, Creating the Mind of a Good Leader. Contestant B.
I think we can all agree that great leaders are not born, they are made. Have you ever heard the statement, the mind is a terrible thing to waste? After reflecting on this, it has occurred to me that the mind is where great leaders are made. If the mind is not formed in a healthy manner, then its usefulness will be lost, unable to benefit society. Therefore, the creation of an ordered mind will result into great leaders. The goal of an education should be to teach the children processes of learning. The method of learning is critical. In a classical education, the trivium was seen as the preferred method of teaching. The trivium consisted of 3 stages: the grammar, the dialectic, and the rhetorical stage, precisely in that order, training the mind to gather, organize, and use the information. It was intended to teach children the proper methods of obtaining information, thinking, and expressing one's conclusions in a coherent argument as applied to the subjects. We can recognize these characteristics in all great leaders. The first stage of the trivium is the grammatical stage. Grammar entails the building blocks, the foundational knowledge of each academic subject. This stage is characterized by learning the facts or the grammar of the subject. This is where memorization and repetition are the primary methods of teaching. For example, committing to memory the states, capitals, countries, and their locations or multiplication tables fall into this category. The next stage is the dialectic stage, or logical stage. Critical thinking comes into play during this second stage of education, where ownership and discipline are promoted. Students learn appropriate rules to apply to the grammar they have learned in order to determine whether information is correct or incorrect. The final stage is rhetoric. This is where the students will be able to the final years of education focus on articulation and constructing intellectual arguments based on appropriate information. I have begun a classical education where 2 years ago, I must admit that my logic and composition classes, I have struggled with them. But through it all, through the structure and discipline, I have learned to reason well by validly drawing proper conclusion from the given information. The pattern of grammar, dialectic, and rhetoric trains the mind in the art of learning. When students take ownership in their education, they can achieve great things. Ownership builds discipline. Discipline is the cornerstone to freedom. Freedom provides opportunities for noble choices. All choices bring consequences, potentially good or bad ones. Understanding consequences defines great leadership. A classical education requires a student to collect, memorize, and use the information, thereby taking ownership, building discipline, etc., and most of all, understanding consequences is what great leaders have the ability to do.
Here is Contestant C. Who is a leader? Who is a leader? Contestant C.
What is a leader? Who is a leader? The Webster's Dictionary describes it as a person who has commanding authority and influence. Leaders vary from teachers, coaches, parents, to yourself. They are our role models, the people who we strive to be like. Being a leader can be difficult, though. It requires being positive and professional, healthy, fit, and it also requires being encouraging, the same characteristics as a lifeguard. I've had some experience of what it is like to be a leader. I've lifeguarded for about a little less than a year now. And although it may seem like an easy or boring job, let me tell you, it is quite the contrary. Every single shift I work, I seem to encounter a problem. Whether it be poop or vomit in the pool chemicals are high, or someone gets injured. Despite all these problems, lifeguarding has taught me to be a leader. In order to be a leader, you have to have the appropriate skills and knowledge to help prevent and respond to emergencies. This is why every single month our supervisor has us participate in monthly in-services. In these monthly in-services, our skills are truly tested. We do real-life scenarios while she's watching to see if everything is going correctly. A lifeguard must also be reliable, showing up to work on time, being committed to your work, accepting assignments willingly, and correctly responding to all emergencies effectively and quickly. Maturity is another key factor of being a lifeguard. Not only do you have to be a certain age, but also you have to be reliable, and you also have to act appropriately and show up to work on time. Another key factor for being a lifeguard is being consistent and courteous, being polite to everyone, enforcing all the rules firmly and equally to everyone. We were told that when speaking to a child to kneel down on one knee so your eyes and the child's are even. This way, it does not seem as though you are towering over the child or frightening them. Being positive is one of the most important things about being a lifeguard. Smiling about everything, even the things you don't want to do. The greatest responsibility of being a lifeguard is being healthy and fit, exercising regularly, eating and hydrating properly, resting adequately, and keeping your skin safe from the sun. Our supervisor has us swim a 500 meters at every in-service we attend to help us keep in shape. Being a lifeguard has helped me learn what it truly means to be a true leader. I often help those who cannot do those daily tasks, such as walking to the restroom or entering and exiting the pool. It was then that I truly realized the real meaning of being a leader. All in all, being a leader can be both rough and life-changing. Its characteristics are endless, but by being reliable and responsible, skilled, knowledgeable, courteous and consistent, positive, professional, healthy, and fit, I'm sure you'll make it there. But everyone has a leader in them that can grow to be something incredible. You are a leader.
Now, here is Contestant D with Leadership in Small Business. Leadership in Small Business, Contestant D.
Are all leaders famous? What makes a person a leader? A leader is someone who leads, who ranks first, or who has commanding authority or influence. A leader is someone who is able to accept the challenges set before him or her and effectively respond to them. By this definition, then, one may see that all of us in this room are in some way leaders. But that does not mean that we should go through life and attain simple goals, but we should strive to attain all of the goals and challenges set before us. Some of the best examples of leaders in small business is what I would like to share with you today. Small businesses are vital for the entire market. The U.S. Census Bureau had some statistics that I would like to share with you. A small business is defined as one that has fewer than 500 employees. In 2012, there were 5.7 million employee firms and 99% of those firms had fewer than 500 people. And in 2013, there were 23 million self-employed businesses. And of those businesses, and all the ones that I just mentioned, there were 98% of those had less than 20 people in their workforce. And finally, 63% of all the new jobs created since 1993 to 2013, those were all created by small businesses. As we can see, a large share of small business is in the entire market. But why is this? People have initiative. They want to share with the world their product or service. But there has to be something more than this, right? Small business owners are a perfect example of what it means to be a leader. Leaders do not have to be popular to be good. They must be good at what they do. Small businesses have an advantage over larger corporations because they are able to focus on a particular product or service and not have to be worrying about many of the multiple products or regulations. For example, today, Bavarian Motor Works, or more commonly called BMW, currently has 15 model lines sold in the United States, but including variants, they have a total of 90 variants. That is not including special trims or packages. Second place is Mercedes-Benz, with 15 model lines and 69 variants. In contrast, a smaller automaker like Tesla, which is based out of California, has 2 model lines and 8 variants. Granted, newer automakers do not have the capacity of a larger automaker, but this proves the point that smaller businesses have the ability to focus more and have the advantage because they can focus on fewer products and improve the overall quality. Today, I have 2 examples of small businesses. The first is my dad. He is a co-owner of Western Reclamation Incorporated, a small native seed business based out of Altopia, Washington. Through his leadership, he has been able to guide the company from where it started in 2006 to where it is today. Through his leadership, he has kept the business running. And his experience in the agricultural industry has made the business successful. By being able to take care of the customer's needs and providing the highest quality of seed available, they have been able to keep their presence in the marketplace for 10 years, which is 5 years longer than what 50% of small businesses last. So leadership is necessary, and this has been able to, he has had to have care and knowledge and communication in order to successfully run his business. My second example is a business right here in Tri-Cities. Featured in the Journal of Business, Liberation Bike Shop has opened in a new location in Kennewick this past February. David Spalding, owned and operated, is a business owner who started the business to be a rental and service shop for bicycles. He has been in the outdoor industry, and through his passion for cycling, has been bringing this opportunity for people of the Tri-Cities to experience the 23 miles of riverside bikes and trails. This is an excellent example of when someone has an idea to start a company, they have to have an idea that the public can have a need or necessary to support it. In conclusion, small businesses are vital for the share of the entire economy. What makes a product or service valuable to the market is that it makes sense to the public. Since there are many businesses in the United States already, there are many leaders. A good leader is able to accept the challenges set before him, as I said earlier, and effectively respond to them. These small business owners are able to find solutions to the problems the world faces right now and into the future. Here's a quote from co-founder and past CEO of Apple. "I'm convinced that about half of what separates the successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance. I urge you to become the next entrepreneurs and persevere with your ideas to bring them to the public and to have them benefit the greatest good in the marketplace."
Now here's Contestant E with What is Self-Leadership? What is self-leadership? Contestant E.
Trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Can I see by a show of hands how many of you would agree with me that these are all characteristics we expect our leaders to embody? These 12 words form to what is known as the Scout Law and are the core in the Scouting program. In my observation, Scouting's #1 priority is leadership. I myself am a life scout, and I'm realizing how critical these virtues are, not only to Scouting, but to life in general. Scouting uses the acronym EDGE, explain, demonstrate, guide, and enable, to teach simple skills and is handy developing its leaders. Leadership starts with the person you know best, yourself. What is self-leadership? Self-leadership is having a vision of where you want to be, figuring out the necessary steps to get there, and completing those steps one at a time. The first step of self-leadership is having a vision of where you want to be. Ask yourself these questions. What do I want my life to look like tomorrow, next week, 10 years from now? Many of us, from the time we were just a youth, dreamed of being the first astronaut on Mars, the fastest person in the world, or in fact, a Navy SEAL. We all need a person in our life to help us realize the significance of our dreams. But as the wheel of life turns, so should our thoughts. What we start out with may not always be what we end with, so we need to be flexible in every part of our life. The second step of self-leadership is figuring out the necessary steps to complete that desired goal. Many of us have a great vision, but don't look ahead at the work that goes with it. Ask yourself these questions. Who am I as a person? What am I capable of? What sacrifices will I need to improve in order for this vision to happen? Where do I need to improve? This is where others can help you identify the steps you'll need to take in order for you to achieve what you have set out to do. The third step of self-leadership is completing those steps one at a time. Picture life as a massive staircase in which you can never see the top, no matter how high you climb. Sometimes, life and our decisions will move us up on the staircase, and other times they'll move us down on the staircase, and we just feel like we're going nowhere. But this is where you can take Kris Kringle's advice that he gives to the Winter Warlock. Just put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door. Or in this case, up the staircase. There will always be tough times in life, but good leaders are able to stay focused on what is good, true, and beautiful by simply putting one foot in front of the other. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us go out into the world and learn about self-leadership so that we might be able to lead this country with a purpose, a goal, a vision. And remember that when in doubt, we edge forward by explaining, demonstrating, guiding, and above all, enabling people to succeed on their own.
Here's Contestant F with Redefining Leadership. Redefining Leadership, Contestant F.
How many of you in the audience today think you are an exceptional leader? Raise your hand if you do. So about half of you have raised your hands, but the rest of you didn't raise your hands. And many leadership and motivational speakers conduct this experiment before their audiences, and the results are shockingly similar every single time. Most people are not comfortable with calling themselves a leader. This is because the meaning of leader has changed in our society. When we hear the word leader, who do we think of? I think of Gandhi, who single-handedly led India to its independence, or Bill Gates, who created one of the biggest tech companies in the world. Both of these people have changed the world greatly. And the dictionary defines leader as someone who leads a large group, organization, or company. We define a leader as people who have changed the world so greatly or run huge organizations that's influenced so many people. But by this definition, I'm not a leader right now. I have not led India to its independence. I have not created one of the biggest tech companies. I just go to school every day, and that's all I can do right now. But this is where our concept of leadership is flawed. We romanticize accomplishments that are near impossible to recreate, and we define leadership as something that is unobtainable. We go to leadership classes trying to be a better leader, while all we do is look at other people's accomplishments. And the sheer magnitude of their accomplishments are dwarfing our own accomplishments in their sheer magnitude. We, as a result, think our acts of leadership are small. We brush them off as pointless, insignificant, when in reality, they do matter and they do make a difference. Drew Dudley, a motivational and leadership speaker, said, "We've made leadership bigger than us." We don't always realize it, but we act like leaders every day. We can be a great leader just by speaking our mind. We can be a leader by starting a discussion. We can be a leader by standing up for someone who needs help. We could be a leader just by being kind to other people. But how can we expect others to view us as great leaders when we don't even view ourselves as great leaders? The first step to being a great leader is realizing that being a leader doesn't mean changing the world. It doesn't mean running a huge organization. A leadership is something that's more tangible than that. I learned what leadership was when I went to my local robotics competition. There was over 150 kids there, ages 8 to 15, and we all had the same goal. We all wanted to win. When I got there, my main goal was winning. I didn't care what I did at the competition as long as I brought home that trophy. But when I got there, I saw one of the youngest teams there, a group of 5th graders. There were 7 kids, ages 10 to 12, and the robot was broken. At their current standpoint, they couldn't even compete in the competition, and they were so upset. But my teammate had noticed what was wrong with their robot, and we decided to go help them. While we were helping them, it didn't occur to me what I was doing could sabotage my own chances at winning. But after I helped them, they took home 4th place out of 35 teams, and that made me so happy for them. But it was so impactful when they came up to us after the competition and thanked us for guiding them to their victory. This was so mind-blowing to me, because up until this point, I had firmly believed that being a leader meant changing the world. I thought that if I didn't influence a huge population, my act didn't matter in the long run. But these 7 10-year-olds had changed my entire perspective on leadership. In this moment, I realized that a leader didn't necessarily mean changing the world. Being a leader meant guiding people. To me, a leader was someone who guided others and showed them the way, even if it could negatively impact themselves. In that moment, I learned that a leader was someone who put others in front of their self. But the most impactful moment of all was when I realized that by my definition of a leader, you didn't need to be a huge celebrity. You didn't need to be rich or famous. You didn't need to change the whole world with your company. You just needed to be yourself, and that was all you needed to do to be a great leader in this world. And that was so liberating to me, because I knew that I could be a leader just by going to school every day. As John C. Maxwell said, a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Thank you.
Before I dismiss the judges to go tally their ballots, I'd like them all to come down. I'd like to thank Chief Judge Lisa Hart, who is also our National Director and current Vice Chair of the National Organization, and her judges Don Hart, former National Chairman, Cal Robinson, Barbara Dethridge, Mary McMasters, Jamie Perez-Carter, Rob Hammond, and Linda Woosley. Also, our timers, come on up, Emmett Jackson and Sean Eiholzer. And three people who played a very important part, although they're unseen. They're out with the students. That's Karen Johnston, Linda Perez, and Brenda Pangborn. And our contest chair, Cindy Hayes. Please, a round of applause. Please go and do the hard work.
Thank you, Miss.
I'll now bring the students back in and we'll do an interview. Bring them in speaking order. I'll have a few words to say and then we'll interview each one and find out who's hiding behind contestant A, B, and C. First of all, a round of applause for our speakers. And you can pull out your cameras. The Leadership Speech Contest is based on several levels of competition. Today we're conducting chapter and a council competition. Our winner here will advance to the West Leadership Development Conference or Officer Training Conference in Phoenix, which is being held on June the 4th, where they will compete with winners from the Pacific North, so other winners in the Pacific North, Pacific South, and the Southwest region. The top two there will advance to the national finals, which are going to be held in New Orleans in the fall of this year. We've been very fortunate to have a national finalist in 9 of the last 16 years from this small community, which points to the effectiveness of our program. What's the purpose of the Leadership Speech Contest? Well, number one, to give students an education, an interest in leadership, which is absolutely critical to our and the world's survival. Secondly, involve them in researching and writing a speech about leadership. Third, to incentivize them to develop the communication skills which are necessary in business and in life by presenting that speech. And fourth, to provide financial rewards to help them continue their education. What I'm going to do is invite each student forward to provide their name. They can tell you what their speech title was and a little bit about themselves. Speaker A.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Workman. I am a junior at Columbia Basin College currently in the Running Start program. This is my second year of this speech competition. I have had 4 other brothers and sisters go through it, and yeah.
Do you have any other interests or accomplishments there, 285-pound Nick?
This past year, I was the 4A state champion for Richland High School in wrestling. So.
Nicholas Workman. Contestant B.
My name is Mary Workman. I'm a freshman and I'm homeschooled. I take 1 class at Richland, and this is my first year for the leadership speech.
And you, what else do you do, Mary? You swim?
Yes, I really like to swim.
As she probably knows, she's had a few brothers and sisters who have competed, and actually had a brother who just spoke a moment ago. Thank you, Mary. Yeah. Contestant C.
My name is Alyssa Workman. I'm a Running Start student at CBC. This is my second year competing, and I swim for Tri-City Channel Cats all year round.
And as you can probably tell, another Workman. They're continuing the long tradition of leadership in public speaking. Thank you, Alyssa. Contestant D.
Hello, my name is James Harris. I am a senior and I'm also homeschooled. This is my second year of doing this speech contest, and my older 4 siblings have also done it. Yeah.
And did any of them fare well in the contest?
Yes, a few of them also made it up to pretty high in the contest levels, yeah.
Yeah, we had at least one at national, right?
Yeah, one at national.
Oh.
Yeah.
Again, it's a family function, and we found that once they get involved, and you can do the same thing with your family, get involved, it builds, and they all learn from each other. Thank you, James. Contestant E.
Hello, my name is Patric Workman. I am a freshman in high school, and I'm also homeschooled. I wrestled for Richland High School, and this is my first year doing the leadership speech competition. And yeah.
Thank you, Patrick. And finally, Contestant F.
Hello, my name is Kukkadapu. I'm a freshman at Hanford. This is my first year, and I'm the only one in my family who's done this competition.
And what else do you do besides speak?
I write for a lot. I write a lot.
And he's one of my neighbors. So. Thank you, Si. I have a personal definition of leadership that I developed from serving with an admiral years ago, back in the 80s, and I saw him make decisions that I knew were right, but they weren't politically correct, to use the term. And I knew he was sacrificing his chance to make his 4-star, to do the right thing. So my definition of leadership is doing the right thing regardless of the personal consequences. And I think you heard that weave woven through each of these speeches. But they gave you a little bit different twist, and personal leadership, self-leadership, and none of them really ask you the question, who's the hardest person you have to lead? And if you're like me, you look at them in the mirror every morning. You know, because you have to lead yourself to make right decisions, to make right choices, and having evaluated the consequences of those choices, and maybe even if it's going to harm you personally because it's the right thing to do. Open this up now. Anyone have any questions for our students in general?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Knowing that several of these students are going to college real soon, I'm curious as to how they're thinking creatively to pay for college.
Question is, I know many of these students who will be going to college, how are they thinking creatively to pay for college? Who'd like to take the first step? Step forward.
Juniors and seniors.
Juniors and seniors.
All right.
Maybe someone whose father is the questioner.
Well, to pay for college, I applied to as many scholarships as I could find. Might be going to a local college to save some money in the long run, and maybe transfer to a 4-year college. So try to keep it all in control.
What program are you looking to follow or pursue?
So I would like to major in mechanical engineering, and I am right now, my top choice right now is WSU Tri-Cities. So.
Well, I'm an aeronautical engineer, and of course, I went to the University of Cincinnati, and that was a 5-year program of co-op education. So the last 4 years, you went half time to school, half work, and they started everyone else as a mechanical. So if you need any tutoring, you know, mine. And I've got my oldest son is a licensed professional engineer and a bridge designer. So can always fall back and say, hey, I need some free tuition, or no, tutoring. Thank you. Anyone else want to attack that question? Nick?
Currently, I'm not certain where I'm going to go to school. I need to make that decision this summer. Start applying for scholarships and programs. Also, I have a summer internship lined up, and I'm working currently, but so just saving all the money I can for
What
later.
degrees are you thinking about pursuing?
That's the problem. Something to do with agriculture. Unfortunately, by just stating that, I opened up a huge window, and I haven't pinpointed something. I need to find something that I really enjoy doing.
Well, I would recommend that you stick with your wrestling also and consider something like Iowa, because there are tremendous, Iowa's a tremendous wrestling school, and also they know a little bit about agriculture out there. So, Nick, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I don't know exactly where I'm going to college yet, but I know that I'm going to apply for scholarships, and next summer I'll apply for an internship. But right now I am currently working, so.
Thank you, Alyssa. I have a 17-year-old stepdaughter at home who's a senior at Richland High School, but only takes one class, orchestra. Everything else is at CBC. She's in the Running Start program also. And she's looking for an internship right now at a vet because she wants to be either a veterinarian or maybe start as a nurse and move on from there. Yeah, so another question.
How did they choose their topics?
Question, how did you choose your topic? We'll go at the other end.
So I chose my topic because of my personal experiences, and I wanted to share that, and so other people could realize that you didn't need to be famous to be a great leader, and you just needed to be yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, Cy. And I want to point it out to all the audience, if you're giving a speech and it's from the heart, it's something personal that you truly believe, it's a lot easier. And your experience was redefining leadership. You had that aha moment. So, Patrick?
So, as I mentioned in my speech, I am a Life Scout in Troop 159. Basically, I took the scouting handbook and turned it into a self-leadership speech. So, and that's just kind of how I got it together.
Okay. James?
Well, I wanted to bring around my experiences and my knowledge of what small businesses are, and I just wanted to explore that, and that's how I chose my topic. So.
I seem to remember, was it one of your sisters who did the speech on James Cash Penny?
Yes.
It was, okay. So anyone remember James Cash Penny, J.C. Penny, and he started out as a clerk in a hardware store or a department store, goods store, and moved on up. So, okay, thank you, James. Alyssa?
I chose my topic because it's something that I enjoy doing and something I can take away and apply to everyday life.
Thank you. Mary?
I chose my topic for personal experience in my classical education and how it has affected me in leadership.
I really, when I told Mary when I heard her title, was making all my notes before the contest started, it reminded me of why I probably took 4 years of Latin in high school. Nick?
I chose my topic primarily because it has had the most influence on my life. It has affected me in the greatest ways. I've been exposed to some really great men. One who just passed away this past year, our past Scoutmaster, who's been a true role model for me in my life, and I just felt like it was something that was near and dear to me. So that's why I chose it.
Thank you, Nick. Once again, a round of applause for our students. Want to go ahead and take a seat, and we'll wait for the judges to come in, and don't gnaw your fingers. I've been doing this, actually emceeing, for probably almost 15 years. Many of you remember, who have been longtime watchers of this, Lloyd Swain of Charter was the MC, and years ago he had a cancer surgery and said, Ed, you've been involved in this, because I was teaching the leadership communications classes free every year. And so I became MC for 1 year. Next year, when he had recovered, I said, Lloyd, okay, you're on the back. Oh, no, you're doing a great job. Well, we lost Lloyd this past year. In fact, almost a year ago, exactly. We thank Nick Wagner from Charter Communications Spectrum, who is here videoing tonight's competition this morning's competition for us. And they've been our partner since we began as 29 years ago. And I really thank them. It's been fantastic. You'll be able to watch the presentations on YouTube and then on Charter Communications cable channel. And with that, we're going to take a rest while we await the decision of the judges. And as you could tell, it's always a difficult one because it involves money plus advancement, people going to the next level. The judges have returned and we have the results. Presented by our president, Cindy Hayes of Mid-Columbia Leadership Development Association. Third place, Mary Workman.
I'm not the president, I'm just the speech director.
Stay up here, Mary, till we get to the other, because someone may want to take a picture. Second place, Nick Workman. And first place, Patric Workman. And what's your check for? $300?
Yes.
$300, $200, $100. Hand for the winners. Now, if you would just go over there, don't get too far away. Just move over and we'll get the Energy Northwest people up here. Presenting for Energy Northwest, Barbara Dethridge. Third place, James Harris. Second place, Alyssa Workman. And first place, Sai Kukkadapu.
Congratulations.
And now if the other three will come over and just line up here in your order. Patrick all the way over to the end, Nick. And presenting for the Columbia Basin Area Council, our National Director and Vice Chair of the National Organization, Lisa Hart. Second place, with a check for, or a certificate, Sai Kukkadapu. Sai will be the alternate should the first place winner, Patric Workman, not be able to participate. Patrick, do you think you're going to be able to fit a trip to Phoenix into your busy schedule in June?
I'm sure I'll be able to.
Oh, okay. Cameras, come on down. That concludes the 2016 Columbia Basin Area Council, Energy Northwest, and Mid-Columbia Leadership Development Association Leadership Speech Contest. Thank you.